But in front of us now, we have House File 1163. Representative Marker, would you like to move your bill?
I would like to move House File 1163 for possible inclusion into the Property Tax Division report.
Thank you, and please share the bill, and then we'll go to testifiers.
And Madam Chair, I do have an amendment also.
Oh, that's
So
right.
I'd like to
There's a
move the
technical-
A1 amendment, which basically just clarifies some numbers off of a different base. It's insignificant, but puts the bill in its proper form.
Thank you, Representative Marquardt. We always like to have the right numbers, and so all in favor of the A1 amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The A1 amendment is adopted.
So thank you very much, Madam Chair, and thank you for allowing me to be the leadoff hitter for LGA CPA Day, always an exciting day in the division from years past. But this bill is unique because typically local government aid bills and county program aid bills are done separately. And the county folks and a number of the city folks kind of came together this year and said, what if we put a bill together in one bill where you actually have the local government aid amounts in there and also the county program aid. So that's what this bill represents. And so what the bill does, it increases local government aid by $30.5 million, taking it from $534 million to $564.5 million a year, which would bring it back to the 2002 payable levels. And then also increases local government aid, county program aid also by $30.5 million from $234 million to $264.5 million. And so I know we've got a number of testifiers and so forth, so I'll be very quick, but I've always considered local government aid as the lifeblood for communities around this state. I think many smaller communities, especially out in rural Minnesota, would look very different if it wasn't for local government aid. And not only does it provide funding for important services like police and snow removal, which has been very important this year, fire departments, but it also helps keep property taxes affordable. And local government aid has always been that program that no matter where I live in Dilworth or Barnesville, the amount that I pay and the quality I get for my law enforcement should be roughly the same as someone anywhere else in this state. It's to level the playing field when it comes to tax bases. On the county program aid level, the county program aid is not as big of a portion of property tax levies as local government aid is to cities. But what it does for counties, it really helps mitigate the many mandates that we put on to counties, especially in the areas of health and human services. And so that's where that's very helpful. I would like and I'm not going to spend time with this, but I'd like to refer members to this handout in your folders. And it was something that I presented last year, and it has not been updated, but it's basically 2017 numbers. But last year in division, I had presented this report. And what I want you to look at is kind of that column where it looks at the local government aid amounts, which is really the second column. You got cities, and then you got the 2017 LGA. And then looking over to what the levy is, the next column of that city, and then going over to two columns over where it says LGA 17 as a proportion of the 17 property tax levy. And you get a percentage there. And as you can see, in many of these communities, local government aid is a huge percent as compared to the property tax levy. And in fact, there's 4 cities on that list where it's over 100%. And another way to look at that is that if you were to take away local government aid from these cities, or they were not receiving it, and you only replaced it with a property tax levy increase, that's the percent you would have to increase your levy by. Now, of course, that wouldn't happen. There'd be a combination of cuts and increases, but that gives you an idea of just how much local government aid relieves pressure on property taxes and the ability to afford these important services. So with that, Madam Chair, I know there's a number of testifiers, and if we could go there first, and then I'll answer any questions that
Thank
members
you.
might have.
Mr. Chair, is the order of the testimonies the same as on the agenda? Then we'll start with Todd Patzer, from a county commissioner from
Okay,
Lac
very
Pepero. Welcome to the committee.
Thank you. Chair Loeffler, members, my name is Todd Patzer. I'm a county commissioner from Lac County in western Minnesota. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you today on this important issue. I want to thank Representative Marquardt, Representative Loeffler, and others from both sides of the aisle for your bipartisan support of this proposal. I also want to thank the League of Minnesota Cities and their members for working alongside the Association of Minnesota Counties and Representative Marquardt to offer this vision for local government investment and property tax relief. I know we've all had discussions together about the important role of local government aid plays for all of the residents we serve. Keeping county levies low is not as simple as not hiring or not building a building or not expanding a particular service. In Minnesota, counties are often referred to as an arm of the state. That is because we are mandated to carry out numerous services on behalf of the state. No matter if the state fully funds, partially funds, or doesn't fund a particular program or a particular mandate, we must still carry out your orders. If the state cuts or reduces funding for mandated services, we must fill that shortfall with property tax dollars. County program aid is a critical resource to help alleviate some of those mandates and keep property taxes reasonable. It has never been a one-for-one replacement, but it is an invisible layer of support that helps us manage what would otherwise be large property tax increases. In the year 2000, county program aid for my county was $742,000, which represented a little over 30% of our levy. In 2017, the low point for county program aid, we received $126,000, which at the time represented roughly 2% of our levy. Add ever-increasing state mandates, opioid and methamphetamine crisis, financial hardships of a greater Minnesota ag community, and you can see how painful losing county program aid can be and has been for a county like mine. The bill in front of you today gets counties back to 2001 levels without adjusting for inflation and will be an important investment in local governments and property tax relief. As AMC Second Vice President, I know how important this aid is to counties across the entire state. In 2017, every one of Minnesota's 87 counties passed a board resolution indicating support and stressing the importance of county program aid as a tool for property tax and mandate relief. You can imagine the power of seeing all 87 counties, from Kittson to Mower, Cook to Rock, Hennepin to Dakota, agreeing that county program aid is a priority and benefits all counties and property taxpayers. I'd like to end by reiterating that county program aid is property tax relief. That isn't in question. During our budget process, we determine the needs to deliver core services. We subtract our county program aid amount right off the top, dollar for dollar, and that's what determines our levy that is then spread across the tax base. In 2018, our levy would have been 7.9%. CPA held it to under 2%. And while CPA probably isn't a term discussed at dinner tables across Minnesota, our county tries to share the importance of this program aid with our taxpayers and residents every chance we get. While this bill is being laid over for inclusion, I would ask that you remember the role you have given counties during the remaining legislative session. If true property tax relief is the goal, as it should be, then county program aid has to be a part of that plan. I thank you for your time and for your service to the people of Minnesota. I guess I'll try to answer questions if there was any. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much, Commissioner, for your testimony. And seeing no questions, we'll move on to County Commissioner Jan Callison. Welcome to the committee.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members. My name is Jan Callison. I'm a member of the Hennepin County Board of Commissioners and also a member of the AMC Board of Directors, the Association of Minnesota Counties, and I appreciate the chance to speak with you this afternoon. As you just heard, Minnesota's counties are responsible for the delivery of essential services to Minnesotans, including health and human services, public safety, criminal justice, transportation, and others. Under our state-mandated, county-administered system, we provide many services to your and our constituents on your behalf. Essential state-mandated services like child protection, protecting vulnerable seniors, and mental health care are major cost drivers for counties. For example, Minnesota mandates that counties maintain systems to protect vulnerable children from abuse and neglect. Counties pay for almost half, 45%, of the costs of the system. Minnesota requires counties to maintain community-based systems of mental health treatment. The state mandates that counties pay for the cost of care when people committed to the state for mental health care no longer need to be in a hospital setting. Hennepin's cost for this treatment in 2016 was $25 million. In 2018, it jumped to $30 million. County program aid is a critical way for the state to support all 87 counties as they strive to provide essential quality services. When CPA is inadequate, counties must rely on property taxes, a more regressive form of taxation, to meet state mandates. CPA reduces the tax burden on all Minnesota taxpayers. This is by contrast to local government aid, which is not universally available across Minnesota. In Hennepin County, for example, more than half the cities, encompassing over 500,000 residents, do not receive local government aid. The county's role in administering state-created programs continues to grow. State funding has not. In recent years, it actually has declined in absolute numbers. Total CPA in 2018 was less than it was 16 years earlier, in 2002. $234 million in 2018 compared to $265 million in 2002. In 2018, CPA made up 7% of the total certified county levy across the state. In 2002, it was 16%. In 2018, Hennepin County received $32.2 million in CPA. 16 years earlier, in 2002, it received $22 million more, $54.3 million. Returning to 2002 funding levels is important, even though it does not include the cost of inflation over the last 2 decades. In sum, CPA is a unique way that the state of Minnesota supports essential programming and reduces the property tax burden throughout the state. I urge your support of H.R. 1163. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Callison. And next, we have Matt Hilgert from the Association of Counties. Pardon? Oh, are we? I'm told that he's not going to testify today, and we'll go to Lauderdale Mayor Mary Gosh. Welcome to the committee, Mayor.
Thank you. Chair Loeffler and members of the committee, my name is Mary Gaish, and I am the mayor of Lauderdale. I am also on the board of directors of the League of Minnesota Cities, and I'm currently the president of Metro Cities. I also serve on a joint city, county, school district, and township group we informally call the Big Four, comprised of board members of the League of Minnesota Cities, the Association of Minnesota Counties, the Minnesota School Boards Association, and the Minnesota Association of Townships. We meet regularly to discuss issues of mutual concern. One issue we regularly discuss is the state and local partnership and how we as local officials can work with legislators to renew the partnership. I would like to thank Representative Marquardt and the 22 co-authors of House File 1163. This bill represents a significant step toward renewing the partnership with cities and counties. Lauderdale is a city of 2,440 people, and local government aid has been an important source of funding for our city. In 2019, we will receive $540,000 in LGA funding, which in Lauderdale is used primarily for policing. Without local government aid, we would not be able to afford 24-hour policing in our city, and we'd have to move to an 18-hour-a-day model. Under House File 1163, our LGA distribution will receive a modest increase to roughly $550,000. However, that increase will assist our city in providing services to residents. More importantly, this bill represents an affirmation that the state is a reliable partner with local units of government. As you know, over the past 17 years, LGA funding has remained well below its 2002 level. For 2019, LGA is $30.6 million, or is 5.4% below the 2002 level. Over that same time frame, city property tax levies have increased by nearly 123%. These increases are due to many factors, including rising costs of local roads and other city services, but also due to the fact that a significant source of revenue, LGA, has not grown. Although the League's and Metro Cities policies do not specifically address the county program aid funding in this bill, I understand that counties have faced the same challenges as cities, and they too have been forced to rely more on the property tax to fund their operations. House File 1163 will increase the LGA appropriation by $30.4 million, beginning with the 2020 distribution. With the increase in this bill, the statewide LGA appropriation will, after 18 years, be restored to the funding level last seen in 2002. This is a priority for the League of Minnesota Cities. Chair Loeffler and members, on behalf of the City of Lauderdale, the League of Minnesota Cities and Metro Cities, I want to thank Representative Marquardt and his 22 co-authors for introducing this bill, and I would urge the committee to include the LGA appropriation increase in the division report. And I'll stand for any questions.
Thank you very much, Mayor Gaish. Appreciate that. And I understand that Gary Carlson and Matt Hilgert might want to do a little duet to wrap up on this bill. Welcome to the committee, and please introduce yourself.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, we'll be extremely brief because we know there's another about 10 bills up today. We just wanted to thank you. It's a unique opportunity that both AMC and the League of Minnesota Cities get to do a joint bill like this, and we want to thank Chair Marquardt for his efforts to draw attention to this, as well as many people on this committee and the over 20 authors who signed onto this bill. And I'd be happy to stay around if there are questions about the proposal or about counties in general. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and welcome.
Madam Chair, members, I'll be brief. We support the bill. We appreciate all of the co-authors with Representative Marquardt on introducing this, and I'll be available for questions as well.
And I'll just say, it's always nice to see intergovernmental cooperation and collaboration. And with that, any concluding remarks, Representative Marquardt? Or questions from the audience, or from members, rather? Any other testifiers on this bill? And if not, we're ready for your concluding remarks.
Madam Chair, just thank the committee and thank the city and county officials and groups for working together on this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, Representative Marquardt, would you like to renew your motion?
I will renew my motion to lay over House File 1163 as amended for possible inclusion into the division report.
Great, the bill is laid over.